Welcome, Saners. Welcome to the Sanes TV YouTube channel for the Round 22 preview video. This week, we've got Brisbane on Friday night at Marvel Stadium, 7:50 p.m. in basically the biggest crunch game of the year for us. We lose this, season's done. We win this, season's alive for at least one more week. And same goes a bit for Brisbane. If they win, top four is on the cards.
Yep.
And if they lose, they probably have to win big in the last game of the year to make it count, and they play Melbourne in the last game of the round. So it's going to be a big finish to the year for both clubs. I've got my mate Murray, who I know a lot of you already have seen on the channel. We've done, this will be what, 3 now?
This is 3
This is 3. It feels like more, but yeah, I think both clubs going into this game not in the best of form, although Brisbane are off the back of a win.
We're getting a little bit better. We almost showed like the signs of turning the corner the last 2 rounds until we just abruptly switched off. So you don't know who you're going to get. Yeah,
and same with us. We were off the back of 2 wins, not the best wins against West Coast and Hawthorn in the lead up to the Geelong game, and then we saw the Geelong game and thought, well, that's pretty much been our form since the bye.
Yep.
Pretty much since the Brisbane game. We're up at halftime at the Gabba. Dan McKenzie got injured, and then Brisbane kind of took over that game and won by 20-odd points, and that was pretty much the turning point in our season, and we dropped our heads after that and haven't found that form from the first half of the year since. So what are your thoughts? What are you from a, I mean, you're a top 5 team, you know, chance of top 4, premiership fancy for most of the year. What are your thoughts going to this game against a team that's probably the most unpredictable team?
Well, that's the thing that just stands out to me every time we play St Kilda. You just never know who you're going to get. And now for us, you never know who we're going to, you know, how we're going to show up, which kind of sucks. I think back to last year and that game where you guys just pantsed us.
Oh, that was fun to watch. We watched that together too.
We watched that together at your place. And
good times.
Hipwood ACL, we just never looked switched on, and that was sort of the start of a really poor run of form for us. So I don't know if it's just association with that, but I go into every St Kilda game now a little bit anxious about what we're going to put up. Having said that, your form hasn't been that great. I guess the things that I look at for us is the forward line. Previous to, you know, before last year, Hipwood always had a good run playing on Howard. When he, you know, going back to his Port days, we score well. It's just our defensive run in the midfield, and which has been looking a little bit better the last couple of weeks. And the big thing for us, I think, is Adams is out.
Yeah, that's right.
And Hipwood, Harris Andrews has not sort of been the same player this year, and we really rely on having another key defender back there to take some intercepts, and that's been Adams in the past, and we don't have that now. So who knows?
That's a big one for us, because that's been our issue with like playing against Geelong or West Coast or any of the teams that have, you know, that big intercept mark defender, and we tend to just, everyone knows, we just bomb it into the 50. I've told you pretty much every week since the bye. We just don't have any sort of connect between midfield and forward, and it's hard to tell whether it's our mids just not kicking it into the right spots, or I think it's more to do with the forwards not actually leading and creating space and making it easy for the rest of the team to actually hit that target on the lead because there's no leads. It's
been that thing with, you know, King's a very good player, hasn't sort of got his running patterns great yet, and like all the hard work from Membry has been so important to create that space for King, but then you had that period through the year where you'd move Membry down back for some reason. Yeah,
I absolutely hate that. I think Membry, particularly because King's been down, needs to, and he's in the leadership group, he's vice captain, like that's his role is to then say, okay, well, our young forward's under a lot of pressure, he's down a bit, I'm going to, you know, go to the square and take a few big grabs, settle the team, kick a few goals and settle everyone down, and hasn't really happened. Like on-field leadership's still pretty lacking, but there's nowhere to hide in this game. Like it's Friday night, it's Channel 7. Everyone's probably expecting that we're going to try hard, but maybe eventually get overrun by Brisbane. But for some reason, I have a little bit of optimism just because you tend to score, but you tend to also allow a bit of scoring. Like, you can let teams get on rolls lately. Like, Richmond, obviously, you dropped from 42 points up.
Yep.
And they got going in the second half and you couldn't stop them at all. And then there were certain patches in the Carlton game. Second quarter at the start,
they got
kicked 3 or 4 goals really quickly, like waltzing it out of the middle. And then obviously the last quarter, most of that, they kicked like 7 or 8 goals in a row. Got within 15 points, and then you ran away with it in the end, but you still allow those runs.
Yeah, it's those big midfielders that kill us out of the middle. Like the years when we've really... Well, the games like last year where we struggled against Geelong and Melbourne, even previous years when Carlton have done well, it's been, Cripps and Petrarca and those guys that, Dangerfield that we can't stop.
Yeah.
Which is why we, went after players like Cam Ellis-Yeoman and that sort of thing to help that. And we still haven't fixed it. So if, Crouch, Steele... get on a run.
Well, Dan Hanbury could get up for the game.
Hanbury, yeah,
that's
something for you.
Rule him out, he could have a big day. His first ever game as a Saint was against the Lions too, fun fact.
How'd he go?
I think he did well, but we lost by 10 goals. The game we went to.
All right.
Yeah, and you did the
Good
review
memories.
right after it. Yeah, that was a bad game. Key matchups. It's always pretty easy to pick sort of the players that, like, from an opposition point of view, you want to stop. Obviously, Lachie Neale's one.
Yep.
Because he's a superstar. Brownlow medalist, and in pretty close to Brownlow form, especially with Paddy Cripps being ruled out for the year, opens the door for him to win that again. And then you've got Dan O'Hare, who's going to cause problems. Dougal Howard's only his second game back from injury. He did okay on Tom Hawkins, but Dan O'Hare's a whole new proposition.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you've got, obviously, Hipwood. McStay is underrated at the moment.
Yeah, he's solid.
Kicked 4 straight.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind him in our forward line.
Yeah.
So I hope we actually go for him, but I'm tipping he probably goes to Collingwood if he does leave.
Probably, yeah. I think...
more money.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see who you play. Who do you play on our 3 tools?
Well, obviously, Howard's probably going to have to go to someone like Danaher. I think Wilkie can cover a Hipwood and then battle to McStay. I think that's probably reasonable. Whether we bring in a Highmore as another option. Sharman's been playing down back as well.
Yep.
Whether he stays down back is another question because we still need that. I don't know. He presses up the ground when he plays forward and offers that outlet kick that King doesn't at the moment.
Yeah. And
that means Membry can stay deeper because Sharman can push up the ground, get those kicks out of defence.
Yeah.
So that's what I hope for. I hope we... it's 2 games. We need to win both. We're not going to be able to win them if we play defensive at all. And I don't think Brisbane want us... I don't think Brisbane like teams when they come at them. You know, you let them have... You like having it your own way. Brisbane love it when you're on top and things are going your own way. The other team's chipping it around and you can just play your fast game and kick goals.
Yep.
But once you start conceding goals, it's kind of like us in a way. You've got more... You're basically like us, but you've just got a bit more skill to get away with it more, Where you kind of drop your heads, you kind of... It's a bit hard to stop teams from kicking goals. So you're like, we're just going to try and kick more goals.
Yep. We're efficient going into in 50.
Absolutely.
If we get it out of the middle, then we're doing okay. We do move it pretty well from the back line when Rich and Coleman are playing well.
Yeah.
Which they are at the moment, which is good. It's just when it's the defensive run, so it's players like Lyons who hasn't been quite as good this year, and just being a little bit one-paced in the middle that kind of hurt us. But
what's your biggest worry from the game, matchup wise?
Probably Max King, just because we don't have Adam. So I think it's hard because you don't get to watch a lot of games at the ground, being a Brisbane supporter from Melbourne. But previous years when Andrews has done well, he's been taking lots of intercept marks, and I suppose, being that interceptor that he's been so good at, I feel that the teams have sort of been able to make him more accountable, so he can't play that intercept role. Yeah. So if you look at teams like Melbourne, they've got, Lever hasn't been the number one key defender, but he relies on having May there so that he can do that. Yeah. And when May's not there, then he's a bit stuffed.
Yeah.
And I think that's what...
It's the same with him.
That's the same with Andrews. When Adams isn't there, he's in trouble. And then on the other side of things, it's opposition teams being able to make him more accountable.
I think for memory, Adams played in your win earlier in the year, and he was actually very good.
He had a good first half of the year. He was like leading the comp in intercept marks or something.
Yeah,
he was playing.
I had him in Supercoach, and he was killing it.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's not playing does create a headache. So because he's not playing then, and you've got obviously Andrews on King would be the obvious matchup. Then you've got potentially Membry and Sharman, maybe. Who, like, what are the best matchups there? Gardner? He's been pretty good.
Yeah, Gardner will take one of them.
Yeah. And then the third?
It depends if we'll either bring in Lester or Payne.
Yeah.
Payne's pretty quick. He's a big, hulking, developing young defender. I'd like to get games into him, so I think they'll probably go with him.
Yep.
And like if you guys push Marshall, up and he spends some time in the forward line, then we've got to have some way to deal with him. Which again, like I suppose that comes down. What that comes down to is whether you've got are you going to play Campbell? Will you play 2 rucks or
well, since Paddy's been out, Rowe's basically been the number one man, and he's been close to best on ground in every game since. Like he had 30 disposals and 35 hitouts against Hawthorn, best on ground performance.
Yep.
And then last week he had 22 or 23 with another 35 hitouts.
Yep.
Nearly best on ground again. So I think they're probably just going to stick to giving it to Rowe, as like give him the keys and say you run with it.
Yep.
Campbell's been very, very good at Sandy. Like on the weekend he got best on ground, 28 disposals, a goal and 40 hitouts or something. He's doing a great job every week, but because I think they just have that faith in Rowe to do what he needs to do on his own.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that just means he can't go and rest forward unless you probably will see like someone like Sharman or Battle maybe thrown into the ruck just to rest him for like 2 minutes, and then he'll go straight back in.
Yep.
So ins and outs for you guys, it'd be potentially obviously the defender you just mentioned to come in.
Yep. So we'll have so Adams is out. I reckon.
Adams is out.
I reckon Payne probably comes in for him.
Yeah.
On the other side, we've got Kalachi will be out, concussion protocol.
Yep.
Coming in for him, bit of a toss up, but I reckon Mitch Robinson will probably come in. He was the sub last week. He played okay, and I think the club will be looking at him as an important player for finals because he plays that sort of type of footy that does well in finals.
And he's the sort of player that will get under our skin a little bit, and we need to go hard. But if he goes harder, then it kind of pushes us back a little bit and go, oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
We don't like that, For us, I think from what I've heard, Dan Hanbury's a test, so let's assume that he plays.
Yep.
But the other big one is Daniel McKenzie, who was close to one of our most important players in the first part of the year when we were 8-3.
Yep.
And up until half time in the Brisbane game, he was one of the best players on the ground.
Good grabs.
Took some insane grabs. I think kicked a goal. He was doing everything for us. I never thought I would say that Daniel McKenzie was basically a spiritual leader on the ground, the way he goes about it. Not the most talented, but he plays hard footy, runs all day, accountable, can kick goals, good overhead, chases, tackles. He does everything. And we've missed that. Pretty much from the moment he went down, our form dropped. So to have him back, especially on that wing.
Has he been playing for Sandy?
No, this is straight back in.
Right?
Well, we've got 2 games to go. I think you just got to back him to train all week and get him straight in. We don't have time to, get people to get runs on the board. So if he comes back in, I think maybe, I don't know, I hate to say it, but maybe someone like a Mitch Owens could potentially come out. Although he played a pretty good job on Tom Stewart last week. He kept him to only 2 marks.
Yep.
So, but the fact that you don't have Adams means we probably don't need to worry about defending a Tom Stewart type player.
No.
So maybe that just opens the door for Owens to come out, get some more run in, more pressure, more experience, and get D-Mac on that other wing. Because Mason Wood on the other wing's been actually pretty good of recent times. So
when you guys have been winning, he's been talked of.
Yeah,
quite well.
When you lose, he's actually really good.
Yeah.
He kicked 20. He had 20 on the weekend, kicked a goal. He was close to one of our best players, so he's not going anywhere.
Yep.
Backline is as is. I think Jimmy Webster will... he probably should be dropped. He's been down, but I think they'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say, you're a senior player, this is a big game. You've got a lot of good smalls. Rayner, McCarthy, Charlie Cameron, Bailey. There's too many there to name.
Yep.
we're going to need to have Paddo, Webster, Sinclair, all these guys in and switched on from the start.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't surprise me if we kept Danaher and all the talls to like 1 or 2 goals combined, and then it's just like Bailey kicks 3, Cameron kicks 3, Rayner chops out for 2, and you get like 8 or 9 goals from just your smalls.
Yeah.
That's where your threat is, I think.
Yeah.
I think we defend the talls better than smalls.
Yeah, right.
So
that's my hope going into it, that one of our talls gets off the leash a little bit.
Yeah.
And kicks 4.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, that's it. I think let's do some predictions. I don't really like predicting any St Kilda performances of recent times. They've been tough to predict, so you can start with this one. What are you feeling? What's your gut telling you? What's your heart versus your head telling you?
I reckon they're in agreement. I reckon they're in perfect agreement, and
it's a draw.
I reckon provided we show up, and the pressure's okay, and I think it will be. I think we'll have 3 good quarters in us. I don't see us playing 4. We haven't done that all year, which worries me. But I reckon we'll get up by 5 points.
Oh, you've gone 5 points.
I'm going 5 points.
That's modest of you. I don't know. I don't know what to predict with this one. I don't think we need to play 4 quarters just because you just stated that you won't. I would ideally like us to play 4 just hard quarters, and if we lose, we lose. We can live with that. Like, Saints fans just want to see competitiveness, just want to see like general care for the game, like from the start to the finish. Don't pick your moments when you care and when you don't. We've done that too often. We played 1 good quarter on the weekend, and that was nowhere near enough to beat someone like Geelong. We need to play 3 to 4 pretty good quarters, close to our best, I think, to beat Brisbane. So I'm just worried. Under the roof, you're fast, you kick a lot of goals. We don't kick a lot of goals. If it's a high-scoring game, I back you guys.
Yep.
But if it's a finals-like tight tussle, we can hold you close enough that when the momentum can turn our way, we can just kick a few late goals to get the win. So if that does happen, Saints by 9, and if it doesn't, Brisbane by 27.
Right. Okay.
If it's tight, we will win the tight one. But if it's a margin in the winner, it'll be Brisbane. That's how I'm feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good enough to me.
Yeah.
The way I see it, I reckon if I was thinking about this before, if Brad Hill gets off the chain, then we're playing poor. Then because he's he does well when there's less pressure on him. He's a great outside player.
When there's less pressure on our team.
If it's an inside game, then hopefully we do all right. I reckon if he's playing well, then we're not putting enough pressure on. So if Brad Hill's doing well, it's good for you.
Yeah.
On the other side of things, Jared Lyons, if he has a bad game, then we're playing bad, and we might be cooked.
Yeah. Well, we'll be there together, watching it. So hopefully it's I don't know. At least it's. I just don't want to blow out. It's just not fun going to a blowout with a mate. Like, I think most of the time I'm always on the receiving end, so I wouldn't mind be going and like enjoying a close game for once.
Well, I went to that game when Rewalt kicked like 10 goals.
Oh, 9 and like
Daniel Merritt's last game, and I thought you were there, but apparently not.
No, I wasn't. I was at home watching on the tally, but we'll leave it there. That's the preview, saying it. So hopefully you appreciated Murray's view. If you liked this video, please like it, comment your thoughts, let us know how you're feeling about this game. Obviously, neither of us are actually that confident, which is generally pretty much the theme every time we do a preview together. Mainly because both our teams have let us down too many times in our lifetime to deserve any sort of trust. I think that's pretty fair to say.
That's what being a football fan is.
Yeah. And if you're new to this channel and you enjoy it, just hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you after the game for hopefully a win. Hopefully to talk about a Saints win.
We'll be talking about someone winning, don't worry.
Yeah. Or a draw, we don't know. Take care, Saints, and I'll see you after the game on Friday night. Go Saints.